Hey beautiful people, today we begin a conversation that is both heavy and healing. My guest is a woman whose journey to motherhood was marked by unimaginable loss, 7 miscarriages. Each loss carried pain, silence, and a breaking of confidence that words can barely capture. And yet, she is here today, not just as a survivor, but as a voice of hope and support for women who are walking the same valley she once walked through. Welcome to Confidence Rewired. For some time now, we have been looking into the topic from trauma to triumph, how survivors rebuild their confidence. Today with me, I have Liliana Kombi, popularly known as Gorgeous POLA. I don't know where she got that name from, but it suits her so well. So Gorgeous POLA is a vibrant content creator and host of the YouTube channel Gorgeous POLA TV, where she blends heartfelt storytelling with cultural commentary and personal growth. Her videos, often tagged as POLA Nuggets, explore topics like grief, resilience, cooking, parenting, mental health, and even fragrance history. Isn't that amazing? You know, some standout episodes include Screen Time, War Zone, a humorous yet honest take on digital battles between parents and Gen Alpha kids. Then another one is The Hidden Influence of Fragrance, a sensory journey connecting Venetian perfume traditions with Nigerian spice culture. Another one, check on the men in your lives, a gentle nudge to prioritize male mental health. And that is something that we don't give attention to, and she's doing justice around that corner. So she's known for her warm, reflective style and her ability to turn everyday experiences into meaningful conversation. So let me welcome Gorgeous POLA to the platform. Tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little more about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on this conversation. It's a privilege to be here. I always look forward to opportunities to reach out to the world, because I know the world needs healing. A little bit about me is, you said most of the things that that is about me. Professionally, I'm an analyst in the tech world, in the banking industry, and that is a different part of my life that it's not always out there. But the part I like to portray is the part where I have been able to successfully come out of traumatic situations. I have been able to successfully turn my pain into purpose and preach healing. When I say preach, not in the biblical way or in the religious way, but in the way where I'm able to counsel people who are going through traumatic situations and be able to say a word of healing based on my experience, with a focus on journey to motherhood, because that is where I have my major experience from. So Gorgeous POLA, the name POLA is actually initials of my full names, Princess Ochiko Liliana Kambi. So LA is the Liliana Kambi, O is the Nigerian name, which is Ochiko. That reflects my Nigerian heritage, Delta South of Nigeria. And Princess is one beautiful name that I have always been called from teenagehood till now. It just got stuck. So that's where the POLA comes from. And then the gorgeous bit came from my husband. So he calls me my gorgeous. So I just thought, okay, let's just put the two together, Gorgeous POLA. And that's where Gorgeous POLA came from.
And isn't she gorgeous?
Thank you.
That's why I said the name suits you so well. So let's dive right in let me ask you, it's all about having moved from the point of trauma into a point of triumph, where you can now flaunt the grace that has been given to you. So according to your own words, what does confidence mean to you?
Wow, confidence is the ability to not look like what you've been through or not look like what you're going through. Confidence is the ability to walk into a room and know that you are the best in the room. It
Mm.
doesn't matter how many people you're against. If you're going for an interview, you're going for a competition, you're doing anything. Having that mindset that you are the best because you have told yourself over and over again, you have affirmed it, and you now believe it that you are the best. That's confidence.
And that's awesome. Some time ago, I was telling my daughter said, it's like, I am not the best in what I'm doing. I am not this. I am not. I said, little girl, you don't need to compare yourself to another person.
Yes.
Compare yourself to yourself. As long
Mhm.
as you are a better version of what you were yesterday, you are the
Mhm.
best. So
Absolutely.
that is an amazing definition you were able to give to us about what confidence means to you as a person. So another thing I would want to ask is, yeah, before you were able to get here, before you are able to come out and put that energy, put that strength into play to help people, where have you been? Talking about your story. You want to let us a little bit into your trauma so that we can know where you are now and where you are going.
Absolutely. So, I am currently a mom of two Gen Alpha children. When I say Gen Alpha children, I have an episode about learning more about Gen Alpha kids because their generation is so far away from mine. So I learn every day from them. So I have an 8.5 years old, she'll be 9 and the towards the end of the month, and a 4.5 years old boy. And these two children are my evidence that I've just got to be confident because the trust I have had in God. I'm a person of faith, so I believe in God, and I pray to God when I'm going through stuff, and I have learned to trust Him because of my journey. And He's proven to me time and time again with the presence of my two children that God can be trusted. So that's something I hold very dearly. So my journey started when I got married 16 and a half years ago. And 3 months into my
Wow.
wedding, I got pregnant.
That
And
that 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 actually speaks volume. You got married
yes,
16.5 years ago, and your first child is just 8.5.
yes,
That speaks
yes.
volumes. Yeah.
you know, so the first pregnancy, initially, I just said to myself, then I was doing my master's in business administration. I said to myself, I'll just get married, have my kids, and by 35, I am done with having babies.
We all
Focus on my
have we
career,
all
climb,
have
climb,
those
climb,
kind
climb,
of
climb.
plans. Yeah,
I
we
was
plan.
planning my life like I was assistant God.
Mm.
And God said, God just showed somehow that, hey, girl, you've got to take a chill pill. I'm sovereign
Mm.
here, and I do what I
Mm.
want to do when I want to do it. Anyway,
Mm.
so I got pregnant first 3 months, got really excited. 10 weeks into the pregnancy, we lost it.
Wow.
And okay, it was the first, I was still young. So the doctor said, oh, there's nothing is wrong. We can't find anything that may have caused it. It's just maybe normal. Let's wait, try again. And then 3 months after that incident, while I was grieving the loss of that baby, I lost my mom. So I was in a very dark place where I didn't really have that motherly affection, motherly, comfort that any young married girl should have. So that was a very tough time for me as well. Anyway, over time, I didn't get into it. That grief was stored somewhere in the cupboard of my life. And then I got pregnant again. And a few weeks into that second pregnancy, I think about 12 weeks later, I lost the pregnancy again.
Wow.
I was devastated because I was I had plans. I just want to focus on my career. This baby's just come and let me focus because I
Let
am
it go
very career
on.
driven.
Yeah.
I'm very career driven. So I was feeling like my life was being put on hold. I need to just have these babies out of the way. So there was so much pressure on myself by myself. then. Got pregnant the third time, was able to, manage through the first trimester, got to 18 weeks. I just went to have my normal antenatal care, and the midwives were saying there is no heartbeat.
Oh
That
my
felt strange
God.
to me. And I like, no, this is 18 weeks. I felt this baby just now.
Oh
And
my
she, okay, let's
God.
call the doctor. So they called the doctors, they check, there is no heartbeat. We're going to have to induce you to push this baby out. I said, okay. So I was inducted, sent me home. And while I was at home, I went into labor for a sleeping baby. I was so confused. It was just me and my husband. I didn't know what to do. I panicked here and there. I don't want to talk about the gory scenes, but I was in a panic mode. Eventually called the ambulance and I found myself back to the hospital. Products were taken out, tested and everything. And they came back after so many weeks of trying to find out what's going on. With the result, nothing is wrong. So I think that was where my frustration started, because you can't tell me nothing is wrong and I'm not able to
all
hold
these are
the
happening.
pregnancy.
Yeah.
So they said, if there is nothing wrong, there is nothing to treat.
Mm.
So I had to go back to my life again. And one thing that was impacting me then, my mental state was in shambles. And I am so grateful to God for the husband God made me say yes to, because he was my everything. And today, men go through stuff like that. The world don't care about how the men feel. It's all about the women, because the focus is on how is she feeling. No one cares to know how is he feeling. So that's a different topic entirely that we're going to go into at some point. How do men cope with trauma like this? Eventually, I had a fourth pregnancy, got to 16 weeks, found out he was a boy, was very happy. I had cervical, my cervix just opened up, and we lost that again. We went on and on and on until the 7th time.
Oh my God.
And this was every year. So you can imagine I was going through this trauma every year for 7.5 years. Because every year I was falling pregnant and I was losing them. So the 7th one was a molar pregnancy. That was one topic that I just introduced it in my last episode that I dropped yesterday. I didn't go into much details. So the molar pregnancy is when you feel pregnant, but instead of having the embryo in the uterus, you have growth around your uterus. So my consultant looked at me and said, is there any pregnancy complication that you have not had? Because I am tired.
Everything. Yeah, everything.
So that was a very long journey for me, until I said to myself, I said to my husband, I said to my doctor, I am done. I don't want to try again. I'm just going to take it. This is my lot. Not everyone is meant to be a mom. I took the defeat. I felt incapable. I felt less of a woman because I really wanted children. If I was someone that didn't want children, I wouldn't bother. I wanted children. I still love children. And I said, God, I just want to have one. Just bless me with one. Eventually, I took a break. I took a break for 2 years, focused on my career, went for all my certifications, did my training. And when I felt I was ready, I spoke to my husband and we prayerfully tried again. This was the 8th year now, and I became pregnant. So I spoke to my consultant. She invited me over, gave me the treatment that she eventually found out, and I carried full term. It was like, it was magical. I could not believe it. When I had my daughter, it felt like it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. So that has been my journey to motherhood. And over the years, the healing process has been a journey as well. So I would stop there for now, but that has been where I have been. That has been my journey. Difficult journey to motherhood.
That is a journey indeed. And let me ask this. Have you thought about writing a book on this? This is a lot, my sister.
I have thought about writing a book, but before writing a book, I thought that's what actually birthed POLA's Nuggets. Because over the years, I counsel ladies now. I walk ladies through their journey, I share my strategies with them on how to receive healing, how to permit healing, because when it comes to trauma, you have to allow yourself to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one traumatic experience that only you is a silent battle,
Only you
because
can do. You have
only
to
you
give
can
yourself
do,
the
only you can even
permission.
tell
Yeah,
how you feel.
yeah, yeah.
So it's been a journey, and because I now mentor other ladies who go through similar situations, it's been a journey for us. I'm gonna write a book at some point. This is what
Mhm,
Beth Pola's Nuggets. And if
mhm.
you look through all the topics that I've delved into, most of the recent episode has been talking so much about what I went through, how I came out of it. Yesterday's episode is how to have joy and your giggles again after a difficult time. So yeah, I will write a book at some point.
Wow, that is very necessary because there are a lot of people out there who really needs to know that it's possible, like you said.
It
It's
is.
it's not something anybody can do for you. It's something
No.
you have to give yourself that permission to move on. That no, it's enough. So the next thing I would like to ask is you've come a long ways. Can you share with us where you are now? Currently, where are you now in that process, in the process of moving from your trauma into victory?
I would say I am healed now,
Mm.
because for many years I could not talk about it. So
Mm.
you know that your healing is sure. You know that you've reached that peak point of healing when you're able to share what you go through or what you've been going through. You're able to heal someone else from your healing that you've got. So I'm at that point now where I talk about it now and I see it as, oh, this is a purpose. Perhaps this was why I was going through it. Could it be that God was preparing me to go through what I went through so I can be a beacon of light to others?
Mm.
Because one of my ladies recently had a loss. She was 9 months gone, and due to doctor's negligence, she lost her boy. And for over 2 months, she didn't come out of the four walls of her room.
Wow.
She was depressed. I was depressed. I had I had a situation where I felt like self-harming myself,
Mm.
because miscarriage is one very stigmatic situation that people don't like to talk about because of the stigma that goes with it and the name calling and
And
the
you had seven.
I had 7 of those.
Oh
And
my
I didn't
God.
just have miscarriage or get pregnant, lose it in 2 weeks. No, I had stages, different gestational stages where there was one that was 27 weeks, almost 27 weeks.
Wow. Wow.
And I had the babies born 24 weeks and they survived. But I had been through all from first trimester, second, and third. I have lost pregnancies in each of these gestational stages. So my entire self-worth was zero.
Mm.
My entire feminine feeling was zero. My entire feeling of I never thought I would ever be a mom.
Can you share with us what your self-worth was like then? Was it dead, lost,
It was
none?
gone. It was gone. I had no self-worth. Because
Wow.
let's talk about one of the things that women use to evaluate themselves is their weights. Okay? So you can imagine every time I get pregnant, I go on, of
Added
course,
weight.
you start eating for
Added
two,
weight.
and then I get big, and then I lose it. I would then struggle to want to come back to pre-pregnancy, and then I come back to pre-pregnancy stage, and I get pregnant again,
And you add weight again.
and I gain the weight again. So physically, I felt like my self-worth was zero. Mentally, my self-worth was zero. Even when my husband tells me how beautiful I look, I just look at him like, you joker, get out of my way. I hated to look at myself in the mirror.
Mm.
There are times I just stand in front of the mirror. I look at myself and I said, what is wrong with you? I was talking to myself. It got to that point where it felt like I was going crazy. And these are things I could not discuss with people outside my four walls. So my husband was my therapist. He was my doctor. He was the one I could vent to. When I feel self-harm, he was my safe space. Let me use that word. He was my safe space. So I feel sorry for ladies now who are going through what I've been through and they don't have that support from their men. That is a different level
It
of
is.
depression.
Of trauma.
It's a different level of trauma. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So I am at that point of healing now because I can now walk someone else through that path and guarantee them of their healing and they get it.
Mm. I've always told people that everybody has a trauma. Most of us feel that trauma has to be something dramatic, something like an explosion, or something like crazy. But I always tell people that everybody has a trauma. You don't know where people are coming from. That is why we have to be careful how we talk to people. You don't know where
battles.
Exactly. You don't know where somebody is coming from. You don't know where they are. And the words you speak to them or you don't speak might aggravate or might make something worse or can help them to come out of what they are going through.
Absolutely.
So when you were going through all this, you said something that is very key, that you were not looking at the mirror. And the next question that, most of the time when we look at the mirror, we hear some words that come. It's like the words are coming from the mirror. But in the actual fact of it, they are coming from our head. They are the thing that your head is suggesting to you. That is what you are saying as you are looking at the mirror. So I'm sure at that point when you were going through this process, there were some lies that were told you, and there are some lies that you actually believed. There are some words that it may not even be you, it may even be people, and it may be you telling yourself that this is who you are. Probably you were not even calling yourself gorgeous POLA then. You were God is gorgeous. What is gorgeous in losing pregnancy? 7 pregnancies.
What's gorgeous about that?
Can you share with us some of these lies and how you were able to overcome them?
Yes. So, some of the lies that my head was telling me then, I look at myself and I called myself a failure. Oh, look at you. You're so fat. You are ugly. Your husband's going to leave you for another woman. You can't even carry a pregnancy. You're not a woman. And I had people who physically they didn't mean to mock me, but the words they said, I met one at work one day and she said, "Oh, I thought you were pregnant. Where's the baby? What did you have? Was he a boy? Was he a girl?" The questions were just coming back to back. And I just broke down and I started crying. She didn't know what had happened to me.
She didn't mean it. Yeah.
She didn't mean to hurt me or to mock me. But I could not, my mental state was not strong enough to even hear anything about pregnancy. I watch television programs where there's a program called Babies Born Every Minute. And that is one program that taunted me for a long time. Because when I walk into that program, anytime I bawl, I just break down and I cry. So I was walking with that baggage in my head that you'll never be a mom. You'll never be good looking because you're fat and ugly and your weight is always fluctuating. You can't even be a proper girl. And I kept seeing my premarital self every time the flashes kept coming, and that was adding to the trauma more and more, because premarital self was this hot chick that hubby saw in university, spoke to, started dating and did all the shaka and all the shakara I could ever do. And here was I, looking this way before the same person I was doing all the shaka for, and all of that. Mentally, I was devastated. But over time, the first thing I worked on, remember I said I took a break for 2 years without trying. Yeah. The first thing I worked on was my diet and my mental state. So I have a list of affirmations that I spoke about myself to myself every day. And I always told myself, while I was working on myself, you are beautiful, you're a mother, you're a joyful mother of children. God has said, because I know I am a person of faith, God has said, I will carry my own children. God has said, I will not lose them again. So I kept saying these words to myself every day for 2 years. And also, I made sure my diet was changed. I went the keto way. I ripped myself of carbohydrates and sugar. So for that 2 years, I did not have sugar. I did not have carbohydrates. So I did not only mentally work on myself, I physically worked on myself as well. And that was when I now developed the love for walking. So I did a lot of morning walks, listening to the birds chirping and getting the fresh air. So a lot of strategies that I had to put in place. And then, of course, the support network. I couldn't have had a better support network than my husband, and then the other charities as well that support ladies who are going through miscarriages and stillbirth. I connected with other ladies as well. So all of these things helped me. And after 2 years, I knew that I was ready. Yes, I knew I was ready. When I told my husband, let's try, he was scared for me. But I said, no, let's go for it. Yeah.
What we've just heard is raw and tender. 7 miscarriages, 7 layers of grief, and the silent battles that no one else could fight for her. But this isn't the end of her story. In fact, it's only the beginning of her journey from trauma to triumph. In the next part, we'll continue as she opens up about how she began to find light in the darkness, how she refused to give up, and how our lowest moments became the foundation for her healing. If this first part moved you, stay with us. Like, comment, and share this video with someone who needs to know they are not alone. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this powerful journey.